No more excuses. No more blaming the world, people, or circumstances. No more hiding behind the same lies you tell yourself to justify why your life is the way it is. Let me tell you a brutal truth that you might not want to hear. As long as you keep putting the blame outside of yourself, as long as you keep thinking that the problem is in everything and everyone around you, you will never amount to anything. Never. Do you want to know why? Because excuses are the mark of the weak, and no one, absolutely no one, respects a man who doesn't have the courage to take control of his own life. Oh, but my family doesn't support me. So what? Oh, but I didn't have the same opportunities as other people. Too bad. Do you think the world will stop and feel sorry for you? It won't. No one cares about your excuses. No one will lift you up. Do you know what the world does to men who live on excuses? It ignores them. They disappear, drowning in mediocrity, while real men, those who take full responsibility for their own lives, go out and make things happen. The harsh reality is this: either you take control of your life now, or someone else will do it for you. And if you think someone is going to go easy on you, you're wrong. Life isn't fair, and it never will be. Are you going to keep crying about it, or are you going to learn to play with the cards you've been dealt? Because while you're complaining, while you're waiting for the perfect conditions, there's another man right now trampling over your excuses. He doesn't have time for that. He's working. He's moving forward. What about you? What are you doing now? Wake up. The excuses you tell yourself are the chains that bind you. Until you let go of them, until you take responsibility, you will be doomed to live the same life you hate so much. And the worst part? You know it. So what will it be? Keep hiding or face the truth head on? Apologies are like invisible chains. You don't see them, but you feel their weight. And you know what's worse? You put them on yourself. Every time you blame something or someone, you're chaining yourself to mediocrity. It's like you're saying, I can't because it's not my fault. You know what that means? That you've given control of your life to the world. And guess what? The world doesn't care about you. Oh, but the system is unfair. Yes, it is. It always has been and always will be. Do you think the game will change because you're crying? It won't. What are you going to do about it? Sit around complaining, repeating the same empty speech that millions of other men have repeated before you? Or are you going to use it as fuel, as the spark that will light the fire inside you to prove that nothing, absolutely nothing, can hold you back? The truth is this: the difference between a winner and a loser is not talent, luck, or conditions. It's mindset. A loser looks at an obstacle and sees an excuse. A winner looks at that same obstacle and finds a solution. A loser says, I can't do it because of this. A winner says, I'm going to do it anyway. You know what makes excuses so dangerous? They make you feel comfortable in defeat. They whisper in your ear, it's okay, it's not your fault. But that's a lie. Every time you hide behind an excuse, you move further away from the life you want to live. You hold yourself back, you limit yourself, and worst of all, you get used to it. Now I ask you, what are you choosing right now? Because yes, it is a choice. Don't give me that I don't have control thing. You do. You always have. You can keep hiding behind your excuses, or you can look in the mirror and say, enough. From today on, I take control. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Because until you take full responsibility for your life, you will never be free. And if you think taking responsibility is heavy, try carrying the weight of a lifetime full of regrets. Because that's exactly what awaits you if you don't change now. What will it be? Will you keep chaining yourself to your excuses, or will you break them and take control? The man who doesn't accept excuses understands something simple and brutal. Everything that happens in his life is his fault. Yes, everything. What's unfair? Maybe, but it's exactly this mentality that makes him unbeatable. He doesn't waste energy pointing fingers or looking for someone to blame. He looks at himself, acknowledges his mistakes, learns from them, and does better next time. And you know what happens? He improves. While others stand still, stuck in a spiral of whining, he moves forward, because he knows that no one else will do it for him. Taking full responsibility means you stop waiting for perfect conditions. And guess what? They never come. If you're still saying, I can't do it because of this or that, you're sabotaging yourself. You're giving up control of your life to chance. A real man doesn't do that. He stands up, faces chaos and gets the job done even when the odds are stacked against him. That's how great men succeed. No matter the circumstances, they create their own opportunities. Oh, but that's hard. Of course it is. If it were easy, everyone would do it. And you know what's even harder? Living your whole life knowing you could have done more, but chose not to. So what do you prefer? The weight of responsibility or the weight of regret? Because the latter is unbearable. The man who doesn't accept excuses understands that taking control is the only way out. It doesn't matter what happened before. It doesn't matter where he came from. It only matters where he wants to go, and he won't let anything or anyone get in the way of that. When you stop blaming the world, something incredible happens. You realize the power that has always been within you. You realize that no matter how big the problem, the solution starts with you. It's simple. If you want to change your life, start by changing your mindset. Start by taking full responsibility for everything, the good and the bad. Because when you do that, you stop being a victim and become the master of your destiny. Now listen carefully. No one is going to hand you anything. No one is going to come and say, here's the life you deserve. You have to earn it. You have to build it. And to do that, you have to stop complaining, stop making excuses, and start taking action. Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. Now. Because if you don't, no one will. And if you don't start now, what guarantees that you'll start tomorrow? Nothing. So, take control. Stop waiting. Stop complaining. Start taking action. You may not control what happens to you, but you can always control how you react. And that is what defines who you are. A man who faces, who builds, who moves forward. Or just another lost person among so many who never had the courage to take charge of their own lives. The choice is yours. Now tell me, how many times have you looked at something you really wanted, a goal, a dream, a life change, and thought, I can't do it because of this? Be honest. How many times have you stopped taking action because you were waiting for the perfect moment? How many times have you repeated these lies to yourself while watching your life pass you by? Let me tell you something. Every time you choose an excuse, you are digging your own grave. Every time you hesitate, every time you invent a reason not to act, you are digging yourself deeper into mediocrity. And you know what's worse? No one will feel sorry for you. No one will regret the opportunities you missed. In the end, either you win, or you will be forgotten. Life doesn't care about your excuses, and the world certainly won't stop to wait for you to make a decision. So, choose. Are you going to keep blaming the world? Are you going to keep repeating the same story, I can't do it because of this or that? Or are you going to finally take control of your life? Because let me remind you of something you need to engrave in your mind. The one who controls your life is you. And if you don't accept that, someone else will control it for you. Is that what you want? To be controlled? To be carried from one place to another by circumstances and other people's decisions, while your own life slips through your hands? Here's the reality. Every time you blame someone or something, you are giving away a piece of your power. It's like saying, I'm not strong enough to change this. I'm a victim. And do you know what the price of that is? You lose the chance to be great. You lose the chance to achieve what really matters. The man who doesn't accept excuses understands that he can't control everything that happens, but he can control how he reacts. And that's what separates the winners from the losers. The test is before you now. Will you continue to hide behind the same excuses, or will you stand up and take control? Will you choose to be the man who finds a solution, or will you continue to be the man who finds an excuse? The decision is in your hands. But let me warn you, time waits. Every minute you waste clinging to your excuses is one less minute you have to build something meaningful. So choose. Choose now. Take control or continue to be controlled. Take responsibility or continue to cling to your excuses. But remember, in the end, the world doesn't need another ordinary man. It needs you at your best. The question is, will you be that man? Or will you continue to dig your grave with excuses? The decision is yours, but the clock is ticking. Make it count. The world doesn't need another man full of excuses. Look around you. There are already too many people complaining, whining, and blaming everyone and everything for their failures. Do you want to be just one more? Do you want to be just another voice in the crowd, echoing the same laments? Because let me tell you, the world has no patience for men who hide. It tramples on those who stand still. What the world needs are men who take control, who face reality head-on and make things happen, no matter what gets in the way. So tell me, will you be the man who takes action or the man who complains? Will you be the man who finds solutions or the one who drowns in his own excuses? The difference between the two is not talent, it is not luck. It is decision. It is the choice you make now. You already know what you need to do, you've heard it all. Now, there are no more excuses. Time is running out, and the world won't wait for you to grow up. Do you think life will stop to give you a second chance? It won't. The clock is ticking, and every second you spend hesitating is one less second you have to build the life you want. So, what will it be? Take control now, or accept life as just another ordinary man, trapped in chains of his own making. Is that what you want? To be remembered as someone who never had the courage to fight? Someone who spent his entire life hiding behind excuses? Because in the end, either you take control of your life, or someone else will do it for you. And if you don't want to take action, the world will find another man willing to do what you didn't have the courage to do. Stand up. Now, not tomorrow, not when things get easier. It won't get easier, this is the moment. Decide to be the man who doesn't accept excuses, who doesn't hesitate, who doesn't stop. Decide to be the man who makes things happen, who wins against all odds. Because in the end, there will only be two options. You will be remembered as an example, or you will be forgotten as just another coward. So which will it be? The choice is yours. The responsibility is yours. The life you want is waiting. Show the world, and most of all yourself, that you can do it. Be the man who accepts no excuses. Be the man who turns his words into action, his dreams into reality. Now go. The clock is ticking. Make it count.